Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with the episode of Hobby Side. And on today's episode, we are taking a look at the miniatures that we have and the terrain that we've made for Necromunda, specifically because of the new Outlanders book, Outcast book that came out, and the new settlement campaign system. We're just taking a look at the terrain that our resident terrain wizard Iron Major made for our Necromunda settlement that we can use in those settlement campaigns as well. So it looks absolutely fantastic. So for those of you guys who are longtime viewers of the show, on the channel, you guys might have seen these buildings in quite a bit of our battle reports over the years. This is a settlement that Iron Major, who's our resident terrain wizard, he actually built these a long time ago for our channel. And the cool thing about it is the roofs are actually removable and you can actually play inside the buildings as well. Iron Major made this in order to make our battlefields more unique looking on our channel. And it's just kind of neat because it just ends up happening by happenstance that we could also use this for our settlement campaigns for Necromunda. Just the amount of details in these buildings are absolutely fantastic. You got posters and signs and stuff like that, and scraps of wood and metal, Nuka-Cola posters like you see from Fallout. It just looks really cool. And it's just kind of neat seeing that we're having that. But the main reason why we're actually doing today's video, though, is, however, to release some of the newest things that Iron Major have made for us. Specifically, he has made cargo containers, as you can see right here as well. These look absolutely fantastic. These are the latest pieces of terrain that Iron Major has made for our channel. And making these cargo containers are great for industrial type of look for our battlefields, and at the same time using this for our Necromunda campaigns, as well as for settlement campaigns, because, you see a lot of Connex containers like this being used in videos and movies and stuff like that for post-apocalypse, where people are living in cargo containers. And this is what Iron Major has made for the channel. He's actually made 6 of these bad boys as well, which is actually kind of cool because he actually built cargo containers before. Let me go and just get that real fast. So we have this cargo container here, which is basically like the very first cargo container he actually made on our channel. The first time ever. So you can see here, this is the very first cargo container he made. It looks really cool. He made this out of cardboard at the time, using corrugated cardboard as well. And it's kind of funny because we actually built this cargo container for a mutual friend that we have, who actually is in the military. And when she was deployed, she actually lived in a Connex container like this. That was basically like her barracks that they made. As you can see, Iron Major has actually changed it up quite a bit and actually improved his overall design as time went on. So we're going to talk about these cargo containers real quick and talk about exactly how he went about making these. So that's what we're focusing on today. So they look all nice and rusted. They look weathered. They look worn. They look like, urban decay, like it should be really looks like in Necromunda. And it's so cool because you can actually like stack these things if you wanted to, make them like really big. And it's just really cool because it really jazzes up the battlefield as well. Now, if you're wondering what the CCS stands for, it stands for Commander Cheapskate Shipping. That's what it stands for. So that's where it comes from as well. So if you're wondering exactly how Iron Major made this, he wanted me to actually drop some credit for a couple of people. The first person he actually took inspiration from this design was from Jeremy from Black Magic Crafts. If you guys haven't checked it out, Jeremy from Black Magic Crafts makes some really amazing terrain tutorial videos. He primarily focuses on Dungeons and Dragons terrain, but it's still the same kind of design that you could use for any wargaming system. He does a really good job of doing that. And that's where Iron Major pretty much got his idea from to make these. He actually just kind of followed along with Jeremy at Black Magic Crafts tutorial and actually built these cargo containers. So let's go and talk about exactly how this is made. So we'll take this one from the top and we'll just flip this over to the bottom, because then right here you can kind of see how it's pretty much made. So as you can see on the bottom of this thing, what Iron Major basically did is he made a rectangle out of foam core, is basically what he did. So you can kind of see the bottom here. Let me see if I can focus that. So you can see the bottom of the foam core there. So basically what he did is he made a rectangular box out of foam core and he kind of glued it together with hot glue. And then what he did is he bought corrugated paper. Now, corrugated paper is a type of crafting material that you can buy on Amazon. And that is just thin paper, and it has this exact kind of corrugation on the outside to make it look like corrugated metal. If you'll notice a lot of stuff from Iron Major's builds, and this is the reason why I kind of use this settlement build to show this. You can see he's got a lot of corrugated cardboard, and that's what he used a lot of originally. So you can see there, he's got lots of bits of corrugated cardboard. At our local supermarket, we used to go to the supermarket, and they used to sell packets of tuna in our supermarket. And the packets of tuna came like in this cardboard box that had these sleeves inside of it that was full of corrugated cardboard like this. And so our major one day just asked the people at the grocery store if you could have those corrugated sheets, and they said, yeah, go ahead and take them for free. So he got a bunch of them, and that's where he actually made a lot of the corrugated metal that you have in our buildings. However, the problem though is that it's kind of thick and it's very difficult to work with. And so while watching Black Magic Craft, our major saw that Jeremy uses corrugated paper. So our major, after he got done getting the rectangle made for the foam core, what he decided to do then is hot glue some corrugated paper on the outside of it to create this kind of corrugated metal look on it. And then the next thing he did is he took cardboard from cereal boxes and he made the edges out of it. Now, how he made that edge is that he basically took just a single long piece of cardboard, and then he scored the underside of it in the middle, so that way it could fold better. And then he just glued it like a 90-degree using hot glue to make the outside of the perimeter. He did that for all of the edges that you see here on the edge of the structure. So he did a really good job making all that happen. So that part was absolutely amazing as well. And actually, let me get to take this other container here real quick and just put this on top. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you some of the details that he actually put on the outside of it. So once he got the cardboard edges made, as you can see there, the next thing we wanted to work on was on the doors. So these are the loading doors that are on the outside of the Connex container. So for those of you guys who are not familiar how these Connex containers work, you basically have two doors on either side and they swing out. And in real life, you have these guiding bars, metal bars, that actually slide up into place and to lock the doors down. And they, of course, they just lock them like normal. So as you can see here, what our major did, he took, continued just taking some more cereal box cardboard, and he cut out the designs for the doors. And then the same thing with the door hinges on the outside as well. Now, you can see on this one, he actually put the door hinges on the outside of it, but the problem was it was a very time-consuming and very boring process for him. So if you look down below, he decided to skip that door hinge process because he realized it's kind of tedious and he didn't want to really mess with it. And you really can't blame him. The guy's doing this for free. So that part's kind of cool. Now, if you want to know how he made these metal bars here like this, it's so funny because he was actually thinking about using plastic tubing in order to do that real quick. But then as he was watching Jeremy's Black Magic Craft on there, Jeremy just used spaghetti noodles to do it. And our major realized that's a very, cost-effective method of doing it, and that's exactly what he did. He just took hot glue guns and he just glued lengths of spaghetti noodle on the outside of this thing. So that part was really cool as well. And that's pretty much how he created that design. And then once he got the overall structure built, after he got that done, what he did is he took some black acrylic paint and he mixed it with Mod Podge, and he covered the entirety of the cardboard surfaces of it with the Mod Podge. And the reason why you do that is because the Mod Podge acts as a sealant, the black paint kind of acts as a primer. And the reason why he wants to do this is because since the entire structure is made out of foam core, you want to make sure you protect that styrofoam core in the center, because if you put things like aerosol on it, for example, or anything else, it can really eat away at the foam core and just destroy your product by the time you get done with it. So that's what he did. So he put Mod Podge and black paint on the outside of it, and then he proceeded to paint the entirety of the cargo containers. As you see, he painted two of them green. He painted them with Kelly Green by Apple Barrel Paint. He painted the other two in just regular red from, I think it's True Red is what it's called, from Apple Barrel Paint as well for the red ones, and then Cobalt Blue from Apple Barrel Paint too for the outside of these structures. So once he got done painting those, the next thing he had to do, of course, was do the rust effect on the outside of these things. Actually, I apologize. He didn't paint them first. I do apologize. He actually covered the rust effect first and then painted them. I do apologize, you guys. Now, if you're wondering how he did it, basically he just took really fine-grained sand and glue. Basically put a special kind of glue on the outside of it. I forgot what he called it, but it dries very, very quickly. And so you just brush that on, put the sand down on it first to create that russet texture. Then he painted the entire thing with the different colors. And then after that, what he did is he kind of basically created like a stencils, what he decided to do for the actual stenciling on this. He used vinyl stencils, what he did, and he printed out the size and font and the letters that he wanted on a computer. Printed it out, and then he carved out the stencils with a crafting knife, and then he mask taped it on the two outside edges. So one on this side and then one on the other side as well. He did that for all of them. And then what he decided to use was an airbrush to actually spray paint the stenciling on there. Now, originally he used just cheap white Apple Barrel paint is what he originally did. And then what he did is he actually mixed it with water, 50-50 mix, to spray it. The problem that he ran into though is when he sprayed that is that the water kept on running all the time. and was warping the letters. So he didn't really like that. So he would just repaint it, you know, the surface again back to the original color. And he actually found a better method of actually using it. He forgot what the name of the channel was, but there was a channel out there that showed you how to create fast drying paint like this for stencil painting for miniatures. And what you do is you actually take a 50-50 mix of your cheap paint, with this case white biapple paint, and you mix it with rubbing alcohol in a 50-50 mixture. And the reason why is because rubbing alcohol evaporates faster than water does. And because of that, when you spray it with this, with your acrylic paint, what happens is the alcohol will evaporate quickly, and then the paint will dry very quickly as a result of that. So because of that, he decided to do that over and over and over again, using that white cheap craft paint with the alcohol in his airbrush. And he went about and sprayed every single one of these decals. And he basically worked in layers what he did. So he would spray one container, then move the next to the next to the next. And by the time he got done with doing all one side of the container in one coat, the first coat would be dry, and he sprayed it again. He said it took him 3 to 4 passes for each one of these to make sure they get that effect, because, you know, white paint is hard to put white on a darker color that has a darker undercoat, but that's what he decided to do. So once he got the painting done and he got the spraying of the decals on, the next thing he did, of course, is makes up some black wash. He used make some homemade rust effect, just using cheap acrylic paints, the browns and oranges mainly, and he dry brushed the rust effect, the texturing they put on the outside of these to create that corrosive look on it. And then he gave it an all over wash with some white, with some black, as well as some brown wash. He made some homemade washes. He used the same recipe that Jeremy from Black Magic Craft uses, and basically made his wash for the cargo containers. Let it dry, and then he covered the entirety of the outside with Mod Podge to seal it. And this was the end result, are these really beautiful cargo containers that he made for games in Necromunda. And the great thing about these cargo containers is that they're very utilitarian in the sense that you can use them for pretty much anything. You can use them for any kind of modern skirmish game. So for example, let's say you're playing Fallout, for example, you can use it for that. Or let's say you're playing like the Walking Dead miniature war game, you could use it for that as well. You could use this for Necromunda, Kill Team. There's pretty much almost unlimited resources, games you can use these materials for just normal wargaming in the modern era all the way to the future. Wouldn't work so well in the Middle Ages, but you know, anything modern or futuristic, it's just absolutely fantastic. As you can see, it looks beautifully done, and it just fits in overall with this. In fact, we were actually playing a battle report earlier in the day, when I actually used these cargo containers in those battle reports, and it just fits so seamlessly with the overall terrain look that we had going on in the settlement. So it just looks really, really cool. So you can see Iron Major has really improved his game since the first Mark 1 cargo container he actually made, and it looks fantastic. So yeah, there you guys have it. This is how our little tour, little showcase of Iron Mage's cargo container for our channel. So that's good for this week, guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.